After much anticipation, MindsEye just released. And, you smell that? We got a stinker on our hands. The game was published by Build a Rocket Boy Studio, a newer studio that really has only developed this game and a different MMO game that's coming up. Although, after this release, I wonder if the funding might be changed a little bit. And a lot of people were excited for this game, okay? When the trailers first launched, people were interested. And now that it's released, a lot of people are very disappointed. And the reason isn't even that the gameplay is bad or that the story is bad per se, but a lot of it is the performance. And to find out for myself if it really was that bad, I decided to buy it and give it a go. And oh man, that it's not good. I should know I'm playing this on a 5070 Ti 7800X 3D processor. It's on an NVMe. I have 64 gigs of RAM. As far as I'm concerned, I have all the specs necessary to run this game. The game did notify me that I should be playing on epic settings, which is just everything maxed out, but I found that that didn't run that well, so I put it on medium to try and reach a happy balance, but even then I had to put it down to low with DLSS on performance mode, and even still, I had so many glitches, performance drops, everything, the works. Now, while a lot of people were disappointed, a lot of people also saw this coming. The last time we saw a bunch of studio executives leave a week before launch was with Suicide Squad. And if you remember how that turned out, God, I'm so sorry. And if you don't remember, live in bliss. Don't learn about it. Just keep living life and being happy. The worst part is that the game doesn't even look that bad. I mean, character models look pretty decent and a lot of the environmental design is solid. However, okay, I'm kind of lying because in order to get this game to run decently, you have to have DLSS on, and the DLSS looks like shit. And then here's another issue, VSync kept getting turned off.
If VSync isn't on, I'm gonna lose my shit.
And this is where a lot of the problem leads, right? You have an issue, and in order to try and solve that issue, I have to go into the menu, right? I gotta turn VSync back on. When you go into the menu and you scroll down a little bit, it judders back up like 3 spots. So it looks like this, it's so bad. And so in order to get to settings, you need to force the game down to VSync, turn it on, only for 15 minutes later, it's gonna get turned off again.
Oh, kill me. Why the fuck would they do this? Oh my... Oh, brother, just let me to the bottom of the fucking menu.
And this is just the VSync. There are still so many visual bugs. I didn't see some of the crazier ones when I played through the game, but there were so many people posting screenshots online that just had Assassin's Creed Unity-esque faces. Like, it's bad, dude. It is a game, so how does the game play? And the answer is, at best, it's just fine, and at worst, it is entirely generic. The shooting is very bare bones. Enemies do feel like they take impact from your bullets. Some of the robots you fight, you can actually shoot off their turrets that are on them in order to disable them. And so there is some depth here, but it really is basic. And I don't like saying it, but the shooting, and actually a lot of this game, very much reminded me of the Saints Row reboot. And I'm sorry for saying that. I feel like that is such an insult, but it really did. Now, I will say when it comes to the driving's actually not bad. I feel like the driving is very similar to Watch Dogs 1, where it's a bit heavier and it's a bit stickier. However, it was fun. I liked going off of different ramps and flipping my car in the air, and I would say it's probably where I had the most fun with the game. The opening itself is very slow. They take a lot of time to sort of set up the story and set up the world, and once the story did get going, I was interested, but it did feel too little too late, if that makes sense, because there's so many moments leading up to where that story finally kicks off that, to me, felt like the game was kind of pissing in my cereal, and I was just already annoyed with it. I definitely tried my best to have fun, but things like weird checkpoint systems, your car randomly blowing up in the middle of a mission for no reason, or things like, for example, when you're driving, you can't shoot at other vehicles. You'll be chasing somebody, they're shooting at you, and you can't shoot back. Why? Are we serious? An open world game in the year of our Lord 2025 and you can't shoot with a vehicle? While we're on the topic of it, you can't steal cars. Why? I can kill civilians in broad daylight all day, but I can't steal a car? That's where you draw the line? I'm sorry, I'm getting pissed off. Let me try and bring it back down, okay? I'm up here, I'm gonna bring it here. As far as an open world goes, there are things to do. There's plenty of races and weird user-generated content tools that might be great for some people, didn't really do it for me, but you know, I don't really want to criticize that too much. But I do think the city felt very lifeless at times. One of the selling points of this game was the weather system, which is that sandstorms can blow through the city, and these were really cool. They didn't impact performance that much, which I mean, the performance wasn't great to begin with, but praise still stands. It didn't impact the performance, and it looks really cool to see all of these different, trash bags or traffic cones flying in front of your car. It's a lot of fun. That's kind of where it ends, though. I mean, a lot of the city just feels empty, and it feels very small too. It felt like a majority of my time was spent on the outskirts of the city, just driving through the desert, which, yeah, for the sake of the sandstorms is accurate, but palette-wise, it's not very good. The story is fine, but again, can feel a little generic. I think the mystery with what the MindsEye is and what it did to our protagonist is fun. However, I think the way it's delivered can be a little odd at times, especially paired with the moment-to-moment dialogue, which consists of "they fly now" tier writing. The amount of times a character says, "Looks like we got company." Oh my god, brother, please. I hate harping on writing because I'm not that great of a writer myself, but man, I feel like they got professional writers, man, right? Like they did? At the end of the day, I really did try to have fun with this. I really tried to meet the game halfway, and I think I did have some fun.
If I can do a backflip, this game's a 10 out of 10, everybody's wrong.
But it was only because I was forcing myself to try. If I wasn't trying to figure out what this game is like for the sake of making this video, I wouldn't have played it. I wouldn't have had fun with it. I probably would have turned it off after an hour and never went back to it. And that's really disappointing because I think this game had a lot of potential. Unlike some other releases, such as Jedi Survivor, I don't think there is, a top tier game underneath all of the bugs here. I think there is a fine game underneath all the bugs. If it ran better, I don't think it would entirely save the game. But at this point, the performance is Cyberpunk levels of bad, Assassin's Creed Unity levels of bad, and it's gonna leave a massive, massive blemish on this game's reputation and the studio's reputation. It actually brought to mind a conspiracy theory that I've had for a while, which is that I feel like some developers or studios do this shit on purpose, okay? Because think about it, No Man's Sky came out, everybody hated it, oh, it sucked, right? But then 5 years later, okay, have you guys heard the redemption story of No Man's Sky? Okay, wait a minute, Cyberpunk came out, that was really bad, but now Cyberpunk actually turned things around. Phantom Liberty is pretty good. And I agree, okay? Like, I love Cyberpunk. It's probably like my top 10 of all time. I love that game. But it ran horribly at launch, and I think it got so much buzz and free marketing from people just kind of shitting on the game that when that redemption arc came around, it was like a free cycle of marketing. And so I wonder if, because I'm trying to wrap my head around this, because I feel like as a studio, you cannot look at this and say, oh yeah, that's good, ship it. And I need to clarify, this is a bad game in my opinion. It's actually, I'd say it's a fucking awful game in my opinion. But I don't think it is entirely the developer's fault. A game like this that is very clearly rushed out the door in order to meet some kind of release schedule is not the fault of the developers, okay? The person who works on the animations or the faces is not sitting in the boardroom meeting going, guys, we need to rush this out right now in time for whatever season, okay? It's the higher ups. And so I think it's important we criticize this, and I think it's important we criticize the studio, but I do not think we should individually harass developers, right? It was not an individual person's fault that this happened, and so I really don't want this to be taken as, oh, all the developers who worked on this game absolutely sucked. I don't think that's the case. I think this is probably, like many other massive flops in the industry, a mixture of poor management, rushing/crunch, and a lack of vision. I think those are the three things that really come together to create releases like this. It's fine to say the end product sucks, because it does, but I don't think we should harass individuals over it. Finally, on the subject of criticizing people, I noticed a lot of reviewers are getting flack from this game's release. Specifically, people like Kev Do It on Twitter, where they played the game, it ran fine for them, and they loved it. And so people are upset saying that he was paid to say positive things about the game, and we see this a lot when games release like this, right? And I just want to say, as somebody who does reviews on day one, or typically, a week or two before, it's very common that you have a game run amazingly for you, and then for somebody else, it runs horribly. In my experience, I played Jedi Survivor 2 weeks early. I had no glitches, no performance issues. I played it on PS5. It was amazing. And then it launched, and I was like, what the fuck happened? it always sucks as a reviewer because it just looks bad on you and there's really nothing you can do about it, right? Especially and I don't want to say that paid reviews don't happen. They do happen. In my very naive youth, I used to think that would be crazy because if they did happen, then people would talk about it. And that is mostly true, okay? You don't usually see, oh, give our game an 8 out of 10 and we'll pay you X amount of dollars. But you do see people get sponsored videos and they kind of form it as a review. And so I think that does muddy the water. And so I understand the skepticism from fans being like, I don't know who to trust on this. But I think it's important to give a little bit of grace to reviewers sometimes because sometimes it really did just run fine for them. So I don't know, that's just my 2 cents on it. At the end of the day, MindsEye is unfortunately another game that just sucked. It had a good idea, its execution was poor, it was rushed, whether by the studio executives or the publishers or shareholders, some group of people made the decision to push this out the door too early, and it's going to permanently scar the game's reputation, and that sucks to see. For as much as I don't think this game is great, that doesn't mean that I don't think it deserved to be at its best when it launched. Games are always going to have glitches, they're always going to have performance issues on launch. It's very rare that we see games that release without any of those. But stuff like this is completely unacceptable, and I think the reaction to this sort of puts that into perspective. A lot of people are not happy with this, especially because we're getting games like this, and then meanwhile developers are trying to raise the price of games. They're trying to say our games are worth more now when we're still seeing stuff like this. If a game was worth an extra $10 and it launched without any performance issues, any bugs, nothing like that, it would be an easier pill to swallow. But we're paying more and we're getting this. Make it make sense, bros. So I'm sorry. If you've played MindsEye, I'm sorry. If you haven't, congratulations, maybe don't. And if you really, really are interested in this game, wait for the fucking redemption arc in 3 years where people are gonna say, actually, the game was never bad, it just ran poorly. And then you'll be able to not only pick it up on sale, but you'll be able to actually play it too. If you're having a smooth time with MindsEye, congratulations. I'm happy that you were able to enjoy this game. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to get back to not playing this game while the names of our lovely patrons scroll on screen. And once again, this is a different kind of style for me. Let me know if this is something you want to see more of. If not, I will continue going back to the usual style, but I feel this is a bit more personal and it's a bit more fun for me. So, thank you so much for watching. Have an excellent day, and I'll see you guys later.